Yes, my fellow riders, hello and welcome to... And with it comes 2 new monsties, 2 new monsters, and a hard mode called Taroth that you're really going to enjoy sinking your teeth into. Seriously, have you ever had Kulf Taroth meat? Anyway, today we are going to focus on our master blaster who runs faster to catch you. It's I have no idea if that was good or not. It's Molten Tigrex, the most formidable of the Tigrexes. Well, you could argue Grimclaw is, rare species deviant's quite equivalent, but the point is he's massive, explosive, and red, which are the 3 main ingredients for any given good times. So, without further ado, let's walk up to our quest board and indulge in 4 of the new quests, though I guess one specifically. Of course, we have our Fury of the Earth, the hard mode Kulftaroth, which rewards a whole 2 super rare tickets, so yeah, definitely worth getting on that. And finally, a co-op sleigh for Orochi Kirin, for those of you that are still itching to do that with a buddy, so that's nice we have it, bit weird we didn't before, and Go Nuts for donuts! But what we care about is dragon eggs. Yes, dragon eggs. Dragon eggs. Now, obviously, you know, it makes sense. It's the final element to not get us specifically focused on that element den, but why is the, like, hybrid blast non-element fire monstie the end of the dragon den? Is a great question to ask. I think Dread King would have been better here, right? Like, he just would have been, but I'm getting ahead of myself. We want to hop in, and you can, well, use any of your tickets. The rarer your ticket, the much higher chance of getting the Molten Tigrex you're after. Of course, you super rare for all but guaranteed, and to get higher quality Molten Tigrex too, and you are going to want it, because he's got some very good genes that we'll talk about later. But as per usual, it is a normal den, and you're going to find yourself a lot of dragon monsties in there, so yeah, enjoy all like 3 of them. But at the very least, there is quite a few good genes on even stuff like Stygian, so actually having a place to go and just gather a load is really nice, and this does need to exist to round out the efficient farming dens that we're getting in these updates. Anyway, as per usual, push on through the den, steal the locals' children, and yell at them on the way past so they have no idea what's happening, and generally make a maximum disruption to the peaceful life of these animals. Then it is time to face Mr. Molten. And facing him is no easy task. Be prepared for one hell of a fight, and please bring an actual real-life other person buddy rider, or Roberto, don't rely on the NPCs, because he hits a lot of times. We're talking triple attack turns where all the attacks are one-shots, or triple attack turns where all of them are savage raw, and just triple attack turns where everything is pain, and you will be spending all of your time chugging ancient potions. He hits hard, he hits often, he blast blights you constantly. It is ridiculous. He starts off with power, goes to speed, and then when he uses his deafening roar to get a bit of a blast bite boost, he will be technical. Keep that in mind. At that point, things get tough because he will triple attack, and well, please don't end up like me. Bring tenacity, bring divine protection, bring hope. Once you've done that, forage for his still unborn babies and claim them for yourself. And, well, let's get 'em hatched into our tiny exploding psychopath. And then let's talk genes. So firstly, well, Molten Tigrex, a power Monstie as we might have expected him to be. Though he is non-elements, though he also can come with dragon boost. So currently I have a baby Molten Tigrex that is a explosively flaming monster but is non-element but has predominantly dragon attack. So, you know, go figure. I guess, you know, at least it makes a bit more sense why he's in dragon eggs. But yes, he is a non-element Monstie. So ironically, the best way to use him is to ignore Blastblight completely, which is kind of sad, but also we really did not need another firepower Monstie, so that's good. But yeah, he is definitely outclassed by the likes of Bloodbath Diablos in that non-element slot, so he's not going to be making huge waves. However, his genes are very much quite good, or at least one of them is. So then, his genes. Savage Roar XL, which is, I mean, expected. It's a Tigrex. There is a lot of Tigrexes, and they basically just take turns yelling at each other, and Molten Tigrex is no different. Therefore, he has got Savage Roar XL, which is, I mean, fine, I guess. It's kind of sad that he does, but it's also kind of expected. So let's move on to something a little bit more promising, and that is his Dust Gene Large, which is quite the fiery dose of death to all enemies and a very high chance to inflict Blastblight. Now it comes at a hefty cost at 44 kinship, which even with kin cost down, yeah. Though admittedly it is a 60% chance to apply Blastblight, so you get your inflict rate up and you're suddenly absolutely tearing through enemies with chain Blastblights. It's really quite a good skill for Blastblight builds, and Blastblight builds, while not the tippy top, are really quite good, and, well, most importantly, they're a lot of fun. In PvP, relying on such a costly move is always inherently risky, but in PvE, this is quite a nice way to just chain detonate through whatever you're facing with the usual Blastblight setup. But you do need a reliable way to explode it, so a detonation gene makes sense. There's, of course, Ignition Breath from Basil, but the third gene of Molten Tigrex is his own explosion gene that gives him Ignition Kick. And this is actually the best of the three ignitions. There is an Echo's better one in the form of Ignition Flare. That's all enemies, a lot of damage, and causes the Blastblight, but it's very costly, whereas this is only 24. Yes, it's only a single enemy, but when you can cost this down, take that down by 20%, you suddenly have a really nice way to cycle Blastblight on and then ignite, Blastblight on and then ignite without having to generate huge amounts of kinship like you did before. And you only really need to deliberately ignite it on one enemy because one enemy tends to be the actual main threat, the focus. Maybe in PvP the AoE ignite is more important, but even then they don't know whether you're going to ignite the rider or the Monstie, so they have to assume it could be either and therefore defensively play on both. So it being single target really isn't that much of a negative. On top of it doing a load of damage by itself, yeah, Ignition Kick is by far and away the star here, and an absolute core linchpin of any Blastblight based build. But that's the thing. For Molten Tigrex genes, you really do need to be using a Blastblight based build on a fire Monstie, of course, ideally, so really it is definitely quite niche. You're definitely going to be pigeonholed in if you're using this, but hey, a full team of 6 Blastblight build Monsties, get your Basil, your Bracky, your Molten Tigrex, your Teostra, just go for it. That sounds like a great time to me. Cycle between them and just explode everyone. Again, need I remind you? So I'm fairly happy with that overall, because, you know, I use Bracky as my main monster. I'm gonna be using Ignition Kick. His armor then, well, Molten Tigrex Armor looks pretty neat. Honestly, I've always been a fan of it, probably over all of the other Tigrex's armor, and it does come with actually some quite nice skills. Nothing crazy. Soul Kinship XL is just really nice, 20% more kinship generation for everything your rider does, so, you know, it turns pets into really quite hefty chunks of kinship, around the 20 mark per time. Head to Headmaster is nice for those weapons that really can pop with that, like Hammer for example, and health boost is, whatever. Self-heal is better, it's just kinda there, it's sort of a waste of a slot. Honestly, there are definitely better things you can be doing here, and you can get the main key skills on a talisman, so yeah, sadly, I don't think you're going to be really using this in most situations. If you're desperate for soul kinship, perhaps, but even then, there is other armors that give a better set of soul kinship. So, yeah, that's a little bit anticlimactic. Dread King armor, however, is fantastic, but we're not here to talk about that because, well, he's not here. In any case, there you have it. That is a title update for part 1, and, well, enjoy. Look out for the pro noobs that will be coming, and I will see you all very, very soon. Let me know what you think. And, well, like if you enjoyed this, subscribe for more. Please consider supporting the future channel on Patreon down below. And until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.